Loneliness is more than a fleeting feeling. It's a deep ache, a longing for connection that can color every aspect of our lives. In an era where technology keeps us tethered to the world, but often far from genuine closeness, feelings of isolation are more prevalent than ever. Jobs move online, relationships become schedules of text messages and video calls, and time spent in true community becomes rare. Amid this modern struggle, the insights of Alfred Adler, pioneering psychologist and founder of individual psychology, offer a beacon of hope and guidance. Adler began his work in the early 20th century, daring to diverge from Freud's focus on inner conflict and unresolved childhood trauma. Instead, he looked outward, to the future, to relationships, and, most profoundly, to the purposeful drive that moves us toward others. For Adler, the essence of a healthy, fulfilling life was captured in the principle of social interest, or, as he called it, Gemeinschaftsgefühl, meaning community feeling or social connectedness. But what does this mean, especially for those navigating the depths of loneliness? Adler's concept of social interest is more than the urge to socialize. It's a foundational attitude, a sense of belonging that grows not simply from being surrounded by people, but from sharing in the human experience. It's knowing you have something to offer, authentic empathy, support, courage, and that by giving of yourself for the common good, you become interwoven into the fabric of community. Consider the roots of loneliness through this lens. Today, loneliness often sneaks in quietly. Working from home can erode the everyday moments of camaraderie that used to fill our lives. A shared joke at the coffee machine, the spontaneous chatter in a break room, or a friend's hand on your shoulder. For others, the struggle runs deeper, rooted in self-doubt, feelings of inadequacy, or even scars left by exclusion in childhood. Adler saw loneliness not as a personal failing, but as a signal, a gentle nudge from our psyche pointing out what we need most: meaningful connection. Rather than shrinking away when loneliness hits, Adler encouraged us to move toward others, not with the expectation of direct reciprocation, but with a genuine spirit of contribution. Imagine you feel invisible in a crowded room or weary after yet another evening spent alone. The temptation might be to hunker down, scroll endlessly online, or convince yourself that you're better off disconnected from a world that doesn't seem to notice you. But Adler's wisdom suggests a different path. Acknowledge the longing, then look for opportunities to engage, however small. It could be as simple as offering your help to a neighbor, reaching out to a colleague you know is struggling, or volunteering your time for a cause close to your heart. Paradoxically, it's through giving that we receive the deepest sense of belonging. Adler's ideas are rooted in our development. He believed that our early experiences guide how we relate to others our whole lives. Maybe as a child, you were the quiet observer, eager to belong, but fearful of rejection. Repeatedly pushed aside or overlooked, you may have built invisible walls, choosing withdrawal over risking more pain. Adler called this our lifestyle, a unique constellation of attitudes and behaviors developed to keep us safe, but which can later keep us isolated. If this sounds familiar, it's worth reflecting on how those early survival strategies affect you now. Do you find yourself holding back, convinced that no one would value what you have to offer? Do you hesitate to reach out, afraid your presence might be burdensome or unappreciated? Adler teaches us that these feelings, while powerful, are not facts. They are traces of hurt, a script that can be rewritten. The process begins with contribution. Instead of waiting for others to notice or validate you, take a small step toward generosity. Call a relative just to listen. Join a local group that aligns with your interests, or simply smile at a stranger. Each of these actions is a commitment to social interest. You will likely find that the act of giving brings a spark, an antidote to the heaviness of isolation. Even when it feels awkward at first, that feeling is a sign you're moving beyond old patterns. Equality, one of Adler's critical insights, also reshapes connection. Loneliness is often accompanied by a sense of inferiority, a damaging belief that you're on the outside looking in, fundamentally different or lesser than everyone else. Adler insisted this is both universal and surmountable. Genuine human connection is rooted in meeting others as equals, not supplicants, not rivals, but collaborators in the greater story of humanity. Whether you're initiating a friendship or joining an unfamiliar group, remind yourself, I have something unique to contribute, just as every person here does. This mindset not only opens doors but also quiets the internal voice of self-doubt. Another profound aspect of Adler's theory is the recognition that loneliness can serve as a compass. If you feel adrift, it's not simply the absence of people. It may be the sign that your relationships or routines no longer nourish your core values. Perhaps you're surrounded by colleagues or acquaintances but yearn for deeper, more authentic bonds. Or maybe your days are so full of obligation that there's no time left for spontaneous connection or creativity. Use loneliness as an invitation to realign your choices. Ask yourself, who do I want to share my time with? What activities bring out the best in me? Then bravely step toward those desires. Here's a practical approach rooted in Adler's social interest. Start by honestly naming where in your life you feel most alone. Is it in your family, at work, or within your circle of friends? Next, think of a small way you could contribute in that context. Could you organize a gathering? Offer support on a tough project? Rekindle a fading friendship? The third step is to act, even if your heart pounds or your voice shakes. Finally, reflect. Acknowledge the impact, both on yourself and those you've reached. Often you'll find that genuine connection grows from the smallest seeds planted with care. Healing from deeper wounds, especially those planted in childhood, takes patience. All too often, people carry forward an internal narrative of being unworthy of love or belonging. Adler encouraged his clients, and by extension all of us, to gently rewrite those stories. If you've always felt too different or not enough, begin by affirming your inherent value. Write a new story for yourself. My experiences have shaped me, but they don't limit me. I can find or create spaces where my presence matters. Then support this shift with action. Seek out communities where your gifts shine, and let yourself be seen. One further dimension of social interest is its call to expand our sense of connection beyond immediate circles. Contributing to humanity on a broader scale can powerfully counteract loneliness. Join efforts that matter to you, whether through advocacy, education, environmental work, or simply random acts of kindness. Some of the greatest relief from isolation comes when we act not just for our own benefit, but for a greater cause. In giving, we participate in humanity's collective story, and in that shared purpose, we find belonging. Loneliness will inevitably visit us all, sometimes as a whisper, other times as a roar. Adler's insight is to recognize it as a summons to connection, not a condemnation to solitude. The journey out of isolation is rarely dramatic. It's made up of small, consistent acts, choosing to give, finding ways to contribute, and staying open to the possibility of renewal. Each gesture, however modest, helps reconstruct the bridge to other hearts. Try the practice of reaching out this week, perhaps starting with one person or one group where you feel those old patterns of withdrawal taking hold. Offer your attention, a helping hand, or a genuine word of encouragement. Watch for the ripples that follow. As you do, remember Adler's promise. By elevating social interest, by daring to take part, you not only heal your own loneliness, but help create a world that is warmer, more welcoming, and truly together. So wherever you are on your journey, whether tentatively searching for connection or already weaving a network of relationships, know that your efforts matter. The world needs your unique contributions, your story, your warmth. Social interest isn't just a theory, it's a living practice that transforms isolation into meaning. Thank you for joining in this exploration of Adler's vision. May you find new pathways to healing, community, and a vibrant sense of belonging.